Hello, a lovely good evening to you, and welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. And our top stories in the news tonight: over 18,000 villagers in MBALA district to be displaced. Poor rainfall pattern experienced in MONZE sends many into hunger. Residents of CHELSTONE, KAMANGA area in a 3-week water crisis. In international news, Senegalese president orders audit after hospital fire kills 11 newborns. And in sports news, President HICHILEMA pays homage to the late national team.
On Monday, 30th May 2022, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts Anthony Walia, the presidential spokesperson.
If that to be done. So we need to isolate legal debt from illegal debt. Insofar as the legal debt is concerned, we need to immediately place a moratorium on that. What that means is that we need to stop commercial borrowing, because this is what has put us in the problems that we're in now. So once we put a stop on commercial borrowing, it doesn't mean that Zambia will no longer require budgetary support from other people. We will. And this is what the European keeps saying, that we need now to leverage our bilateral and multilateral relationships with the IMF, the World Bank, and other countries.
As they discuss Zambia's current affairs on DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98, and Topstar channel 106.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Another news in detail. Milimo village head woman Ruthness Mambo of MONZE district in southern province says people in her village are facing threats of hunger following the poor rainfall pattern experienced in the 2021-2022 rain season. Head woman Mambo says people have already started flocking to her house in search of food, but that she is equally affected by the situation. She has since called on the government to quickly consider supplying relief food to the area before the situation gets worse. And Headman Himonga of MONZE West says the government should expedite the process of drilling boreholes in the area, saying animals and people are sharing the same source of water and that the water streams are almost drying up.
Some of the challenges are that schools are very far, hence a lot of children are not managing because of the distance, and some because of poverty. The other challenge is lack of food because of bad rain pattern, which has resulted in hunger among my people. They come to me for food, but I have nothing to give them. The other challenge is shortage of nurses at the clinic. People are willing to get vaccinated for COVID-19, but because of shortage of nurses, they end up going back without getting vaccinated. For CDF, we wanted to work on ratifying water challenges by drilling boreholes as well as helping out school-going children.
For the challenges, we are asking the new Dawn government to help us with schools, because schools are very far. We're asking that the new government to help us with water as well as sinking boreholes, because in some places people are sharing water with the animals. So it can be better if the government can help us with dams as well, so that as people are drinking water from the boreholes, the animals will also have water in certain places.
Residents of CHELSTONE, KAMANGA in Lusaka have gone for 3 weeks without a single drop of water in the area. In interviews with Camnet News, the residents, who constituted a community meeting Saturday, have called on their area member of parliament, Mike Mposha, who is also Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, to come and check on what is on the ground in his constituency. The Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company in March 2022 conducted an inspection of the area, promising to solve the problem, but water blues have persisted.
These are residents of Lusaka's CHELSTONE, KAMANGA, who have gathered here to lament the lack of water in the area for 3 weeks straight. Despite Sustainable Development Goal number 6 aiming to achieve easy access to clean water and sanitation for all by 2030, the picture on the ground is still gloomy. The area recently went through a phase where it had no water for about 7 months, but hope returned when the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company came on the ground to assess the situation and solve the problem. The residents, however, explained that water supply was only stable for about 1 month after that time, but that the situation has gone back to how it was before, having gone 3 weeks now without water.
America inaita donating drama Millennium Challenge project titabantu tinkale na manzi nanga project inaenda kuti ngati ni failed project letani constituency fund ibwere tipase manzi constituent development fund iliko zijaza kuti boma yanganepo zinasira kudala boma inaita kudala release money za constituency zija drama za constituency zibwelo constituency manzi tinkale nayo osati drama za constituency first year zita ma project 100 drama za constituency zita focus ma project MONZE yoyamba inkale manzi.
We don't have water for years. Yes. No water. Mr. Mike Posha should come and see this place. There is no water in Kamanga. Look at my age. Yes. How do I move to go and get water? There is no water in my house. Just behind this living in place. There is no water completely. I don't know when I bathed. Look at me. Yes. I can't move me. I'm an old woman.
They have also called on Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, Mr. Mike Posha, who is Munali constituency member of Parliament, to come on the ground, alleging that he has not been responsive to cause.
Our area MP from Munali constituency to bring us water. I don't buy him because there's no water for 3 weeks.
7 months no water. 7 months no water.
Since Mr. Mike Posha is a minister of water development, he was appointed by the president, Mr. HICHILEMA, as the water development minister. So what is he doing here? So he should come to our aid, Mr. Mike Posha. Right.
Tabutinga kuno kwa Kamanga kuno kumkolo side kuno no manzi. Ku down kwanza tunapenda ngape zako tu manzi. But inse kuno kulibe chinayuma. Tinaleka kudala usamba. Ola mwa munhu wale hapa anakapana nasamba mazo. Sini zote kana nasamba liti. Manzi kulibe. Tabutinga. Mumbe sesa. Imamene muri kwa kula akuru kusogolo ikango ni nzeru mani matiputisa taputika madezi yako mbwa tenze kumwako apa tankali atumonga kuti olo mwene mangala pa manzi mamwa manzi manje satuzamwa chani
tapapata cause issue ya manzi si ya manje ni ya kudala na kudala bane wanamba project ya Millennium Challenge tenzitanga makuta yes wafika manje manzi tizangala nayo but still more problem sisila.
Various phone calls made to the area MP Mr. Mike Posha went unresponded to by broadcast time. Camnet News has since reached out to the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company to get a response on the situation. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Residents of Chienge district in Luapola province have appealed to the New Dawn administration to rehabilitate the Kashikishi Machinka road, which is in a deplorable state. The residents explained that the road has been in a bad state for a long period of time, affecting their day-to-day operations, and pleaded with government to consider tarring the road. Meanwhile, United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General Batoke Imenda expressed sadness that the road was neglected by the previous regime. He says all unfinished projects in the country should be followed up in order for transparency and accountability to take shape.
This is Kanwa Bridge, On Kashikishi Muchinku Road in Luapula Province, which is in a bad shape, young boys cash in on motorists to guide them on which part of the bridge is safe for them to cross. Residents in the area explained that the state of Kashikishi Muchinka Road needs urgent attention in order to safeguard lives, as road accidents have been recorded due to the bad state of the road. They have appealed to government to consider putting up a tarmac in order to ease their movement.
Then Kairi, Musobo Limba, Ukecha Kwebati, Apari 70 kilometers, when there are for 4 hours.
Road. No baka imando kwa divin I'm accident ni all over like even if you money go monsomo. What in powder? The Lord ya kwa tafele ni moku fumefi hapa na hapa. Ama moto ka habilitate ya 30.
Meanwhile, United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda, who made a stop at Kanwa Bridge on the Kashikishi Muchinka Road on his way to Chiengi, wondered why the road was not worked on by the previous regime. Mr. Imenda says there is need to follow up on all unfinished projects as he senses corrupt practices in the manner the projects were done.
We are told some payment was made towards this bridge here. Not only the bridge, but even the road was about to be tarred. So what we are seeing here is unbelievable.
A good road network is vital in the growth of the nation and development as it provides access to employment, social, health and educational services, making it crucial in the fight against poverty. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
The Dorcas Mothers from the Seventh-day Adventist Church have continued sensitizing its members on the fight against gender-based violence through lessons being shared to them pertaining self-reliance. Speaking during the last day of Dorcas rally held MONZE in MONZE South Mission District Secretary Sitela Chikonga says there is need for women to be capacitated with knowledge that will help them become self-reliant. Meanwhile, MONZE South Mission District Pastor Happison Nsanzia says Dorcas mothers have played a big role in the church by helping women with different skills in order for them to be self-reliant and help the community to fight cases of gender-based violence. Pastor Nsanzia said Dorcas mothers are of help in the church and the country at large because of the knowledge being shared with the help of women, especially in the church, to desist from the issues that may result into conflict in the families.
From Sunday up to Sunday. My days, each day it has some 3 to 4 lessons. So kabona uta group yesu unyina unga ulalu urwa utabai human rights. We invite someone from the human rights. Or the Land Alliance, we have invited another man from the Land Alliance. Alo yoga ngoba ihama tumbo bobereke tubuwani nanyiga iri yabo. Onya GBV ayaro yagagananwa. Bulimbo bereke buli kuna. Alimko bereke buli.
Self-reliance, if each mother is able to produce enough for the family, it would even help it would help them to clear the issue of GBV. So the objective of the Dorcas mothers, Dorcas society, is mainly on community services, trying to help those that are underprivileged, even the GBV, to fight against GBV. So we have been teaching them. We had a lesson on self-reliance. We had a lesson on the Christian standard. We had a lesson on family life.
Advocates for the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation have called on the church to be at the forefront of safeguarding the country's morals against unchristian values. Organization National Chairman Bishop Bilimfula was speaking to Camnet News after a march past which was held from the Freedom Statue to the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross Saturday, aimed at offering solidarity to Zambia's Christian nation values. Concerns have been raised from different sectors of society of recent after the Swedish and Finnish embassies allegedly flew flags at their premises upholding gay rights. Meanwhile, President HICHILEMA has, however, made it clear that the United Party for National Development, UPND administration, does not and will not support gay rights.
Gathered here today are patriotic Zambians, men and women that love Zambia, that love the destiny of this nation. And the reason why we are gathered here is to agree, yes, with first and foremost our president here, who boldly said no to LGBTQI, who said no to lesbianism and homosexuality, yes, as evil vices in this country. So we are here to stand with him and to stand with the rest of the Zambians that are saying no to LGBTQI.
I know there's a lot of talk in this nation. Before the president spoke, there was a lot of talk that maybe the Zambia is going to be corrupt by this Western world. But I thank God for our our president, who came up and opened that he's an elder in SD Church and he will not allow homosexualism in this nation or gayism in this nation. So I see this as the fulfillment of a prophecy. Remember, David Livingstone said about Zambia that Zambia shall be a Christian nation, a mighty Christian nation.
Over 18,000 people of Chulungoma village in MBALA district are living in fear of displacement after a title for their village was allegedly given to an individual. Village headman Mr. Chulungoma Sinyangwe has called on the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to institute an investigation in land matters across the country, citing irregularities. The said village was formed in 1906 and registered, but the settlement is now in a battle of colliding title deeds. More in this report.
It is commonly agreed on that land is the greatest investment as it guarantees security for future generations. The future of villagers from Chulungoma village in MBALA district is however uncertain after the village housing over 18,000 people is under threat of demolition. Village headman Mr. Chulungoma Sinyangwe explains that an individual was given title deeds for the same land which was already on title in 1978, explaining that he has however been absent all these years and is now deceased. The village headman explains that the family of the said man is now back demanding for the same land.
Watu mama ivesa baisamona ifyo tulela ndapo ngatakwaba. Elo abantu balilima balakwata emilemo nabakwata mama ngozi finshina finsha fyaba muno. Nomba ine nimpwishe myaka 65 muno mwine muchulungo memo nafyalirwa. Nomba nachitupesha amano. Twaisapokele fyo muntu mo kwisati awe yali ni famu ya batata bapokele 1978. Nomba 1978 ni shumushi twalikala emyaka n'emyaka. Nomba mwebuteko ni pesa mwala tubika. Already teisho cheka uno mushi ilo bayambira okupela ama title deed kube na Africa elo na ife batupele register book ile yafumina mu parliament. Nomba ilelo twalikwata act register book ile imina nga title deed iya ikatilo mushi. Nomba ilelo nachitupesha amano ba agriculture tabatu ebapo barandi tabatu ebapo ba kansela tabatu ebapo ata ubuteko na bose mwebale umfwa tatulepela linda na munyolo mulandu bati aibwele mofyo kwebati tatu akafumebo na tumfwa kwebati balefwa okukitefyo aleposa nenshita achite fyonse fyo alefaya abantu balirede okupokelela ivyo alachita ngabuteko bwala ine amakomandozi abantu balina okupokelela amakomandozi era labo kwebati na bene natukwata amasoja muri bakomando.
The villagers have questioned why a public school and health post was constructed in the village if its title was not valid.
Old as I am, I'm now running to 75 years. Now, if this was a farm, a holes have been dug here by the government. We got a clinic, we got a school as Turungoma. Now, how come somebody can claim that she owns this land? Title deeds. Land rates. Nomba yo ifa pashite chabashani uyuna munyola era tutumfia ba Zambia ba president to apapata tulipash. We are citizens.
They have vowed to fight anyone who removed them from the land tooth and nail.
Na tufo kwebati balefo okuchitefyo aleposa nenshita achitefyo onsefyo alefaya abantu balirede okupokelela ivyo alachita
eko ina mukwai na ishila muno mushi nishinchiri akakashana no tubabele ninkwata nomba inonshita ninkota bali tupele register panga ni 19 shani uyo nikare
ina na afyali wa muno munye na abafyashi banji bafuila muno munye balala pale no bana abalume bandi baliko nango balekwayo ukututasa ukatwalaya nikwisa bana kwebenda tulekwa tukabalale muno munye omwalala abafyashi ubudeko butuloleshe bantu ubudeko ngabatulaba twala kwisa.
On the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Elijah Muchima, to quickly intervene in their situation. Zipora Mala, Camnet News.
Lukasha Member of Parliament George Chisanga has expressed happiness that a lot of cooperatives in his constituency have been formed in order to benefit from the Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Chisanga has, however, expressed sadness that the guidelines and pace of how constituency development funds are being released is unprogressive, as development projects cannot be conducted if the pace is left unchecked. The lawmaker has further charged that the CDF program lacks a proper roadmap to ensure it is effectively utilized, citing that the program was initiated without analyzing the availability of cooperatives and that key components were to be considered. More in the following report.
In our audit, we discovered that most of these development committees in different they did not consult the residents. It was almost a similar trend in all the wards. So what I did, I had to sit down with my team and we agreed that we should send back the proposals back to the ward development committee, so
amount of money to the constituencies as CDF. The money jumped from the 1.6 that was being given the patriotic fund to the 25.7 million which is being given by the UPND government. In fact, what had happened is the original announcement by the minister suggested that at least by the 5th of January this year, each constituency was going to be funded to the tune of 25.7 million. That's what the budget speech sounded like. But when we got into this year, you saw what happened. We've seen the rollouts of this money in installments.
This is how some stakeholders have explained the challenges associated with constituency development funds, questioning the effectiveness of the program. Despite calls by the local government for constituency development committees to plan for the allocated funds now and beyond, Lukasha Member of Parliament George Chisanga explains that the procurement process of the funds is too rigid and fears that projects may not be worked on during a specified time frame given due to conflicts in the policy of the program. He says there is need to move in at the speed of light and create a clear roadmap that answers to the needs of making the program a success.
Allocation for the MP, because the expectation was that the central government was going to carry out most of those huge infrastructure development projects. That's why we had in our government, we had the Minister of Infrastructure Development, for instance, we had the Minister of Education, for running it with its own programs. But it appears most of these have now been lumped on the shoulders of the Member of Parliament, working together with the local authority. So it's a question of not being ready, but also it's a question of having capacity. Because the challenge that we're going to find very soon is that the local authorities don't seem to have enough capacity to manage this huge funding. You know, there's also an aspect of monitoring and evaluation that is going to come with this thing. Are we ready to do it and evaluate? Within my CDF committee, I've made sure that we have insisted that we are just not going to be used as an institution, as a committee that is going to receive applications and allocate them. But we also follow through, especially with capital projects. We need to know how government funding is going to be utilized by the end users. Even with the cooperatives themselves, we want to speak to them candidly that we expect them to use this money, you know, according to what is contemplated within the CDF funding projects. Because again, we established that CDF, we're supposed to deploy part of it into capital projects within the constituency. Whether or not, again, we're going to evaluate funding for those capital projects is something we can only tell once we begin to look at them. But insofar as the Lukasha is concerned, we have already drawn up a temporary program ourselves for the next 1 year on each, even what capital projects we're going to fund using CDF. So,
Nelson Zulu, Camnet News.
We're watching Camnet TV News. We take our first commercial break. We'll be back with more news after this break.
We take risks every day, with some big things and some little things. Other risks are out of our control. But no matter what's important in your life, Savenda Insurance has got you covered. Whether it's for your home, vehicle, investments, or the people you love, you shouldn't have to worry about securing the future. Let us handle that. Since 2014, we have helped Zambians protect their health and personal property, offering peace of mind and fostering progress and development. Taking risks is what makes us grow. Insurance is what keeps us going strong.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. Has so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow.
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
On Monday, 30th May 2022, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts Anthony Walia, the presidential spokesperson.
If that's to be done. So we need to isolate legal debt from illegal debt. Insofar as the legal debt is concerned, we need to immediately place a moratorium on that. What that means is that we need to stop commercial borrowing, because this is what has put us in the problems that we're in now. So once we've put a stop on commercial borrowing, it doesn't mean that Zambia will no longer require budgetary support from other people. We will. And this is what the European Deputation is saying, that we need now to leverage our bilateral and multilateral relationships with the IMF, the World Bank, and other countries.
As they discuss Zambia's current affairs on DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98, and Topstar channel 106.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Minister of Community Development and Social Services, Doreen Mwamba, says she is impressed with the commitment portrayed by the Zambia National Service Eagles Club to raise the standards of women in Kafue district through skills training. Speaking at the Eagles Ladies Club Fish, Chicken and Smoking Skills Training graduation ceremony in Kafue, Ms. Mwamba says more of such trainings should be seen going forward, as it will help in the reduction of poverty at household level. She says government is committed to support such initiatives that add value to the country's local products and says they should be extended to other parts of the country. Meanwhile, the club's patron, Mrs. Angela Solochi, says she is confident that the skills acquired through this training will enable women to start viable businesses which will sustain their livelihood. More in this report.
The quest to equip women with viable skills to enhance their participation in economic development has seen 68 women of Kafue District, Chanyanya area, graduating with a certificate in fish and chicken smoking skills training. The training was sponsored by the Zambia National Service Ladies Eagles Club in partnership with Lusaka Impact Club, was set as a means to empower women to become self-sustaining individuals with the goal to alleviate poverty in rural and peri-urban areas. The graduation, which was graced by the presence of the Minister for Community Development and Social Services, Doreen Mwamba, who underscored the need to offer support to the club as their value-added fish and chicken have the potential to attract a commercial market.
I am more than confident that the club can ride on the vast ZNS land which I've seen today to put up a string of 10,000 holding capacity chicken runs to support commercial chicken rearing. Our government, your government, wants to see ventures like this one operate strictly as a business and raised to commercial levels. It is encouraging to note that the club is already reaching out to reliable markets like the chain stores, going by the invited guests I've seen here today.
The Eagles Ladies Club patron, Angela Solochi, says the skills these women have acquired will enable them to start small but viable businesses which will later help them lead better lives.
We are determined to see to it that the Eagles Ladies Club of the dispensation are those that add great value to society. We are therefore tirelessly working to sufficiently capacitate them in areas that are showing a promising business outlook in short market-based skills.
And speaking at the same event, the CEO for Lusaka Impact Club, Eunice Kachoma, expressed happiness that this graduation came shortly after the commemoration of Africa Freedom Day, adding that true freedom is when women are given space to contribute to the growth of the economy.
On a Wednesday, and the way we celebrate our African Freedoms Day is to celebrate the development of women in terms of economic participation. We look at Africa Freedom Day as those that struggled and have blood on their faces. We see the pictures. But I want to say today that the real freedom is getting a woman out of the bondage of non-performance in a home in terms of economic participation.
Messi Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News, Kafue.
Kaomba Basic School Deputy Head Teacher Exilda Mwamba has implored the Ministry of Local Government to approve the financing for the completion of 2 classroom blocks and procurement of new desks at the school. In an interview, Ms. Mwamba says work on the construction of 2 new classroom blocks which was started by the PTA committee have stalled, thereby forcing pupils to learn from uncompleted infrastructure. Ms. Mwamba says the school, which has only 10 classroom blocks, cannot accommodate all the pupils as the introduction of free education has seen an increase in the number of enrollments to almost 1,000 pupils. And the community budgeting group in the area established by the Zambia Council for Social Development says it is monitoring how resources under the Constituency Development Fund will be disbursed and who the beneficiaries will be. More in this report.
Located Located in the outskirts of MONZE district in Southern Province, about 14 kilometers from MONZE township, is Kaomba Basic School, which accommodates close to 1,000 pupils. Despite the school having a huge pupil presence, the school only has 10 classroom blocks, thereby making it difficult to accommodate all the pupils. Efforts in the past were made by the PTA committee to construct 2 new classroom blocks to contain the pressure, but that works have stalled after the committee ran out of money, coupled with government's decision to hunt PTA fees. School Deputy Head Teacher Exilda Mwamba says the school has made an application to the Ward Development Committee to consider financing the completion of the 2 classroom blocks, as well as urgently buy desks for the school, as most pupils are sitting on the floor.
We have submitted the project proposal to our Ward Councillor. Of course, they said there are some priorities. The priorities that we have are the challenges of desks. So that will be the first one to be worked on, then followed by the infrastructures.
The deputy head also adds that the introduction of free education has seen an increase in the number of enrollments. She says among many other challenges, lack of teachers' accommodation has forced the teachers to be staying in town, which is 14 kilometers from the school, thereby inconveniencing the teachers who travel to and from the school every day.
The number of pupils have increased. Last time we were having pupils going at 700, now we are running to 1,000. They are about 980 something coming. So we have got a lot of challenges. Like you have seen here, the classroom is incomplete, and also we have a shortfall for some teachers. The desks, we have shortfall desks. Most of the learners, they sit on the floor. Then the classrooms, we have only 12, including the ones they use them. There are 12 structures, classroom block. It was done by the PTA. Now they failed to complete it. They ran short of funds. This classroom we have seen here. Then after that, then we also proposed to have some staff houses. We have a challenge of staff houses. Most of the staff, they come from town. Like myself, I also come from town.
Meanwhile, Chona Community Budgeting Group, established by the Zambia Council for Social Development, says it is monitoring how the CDF resources are being utilized in the area to ensure that it reaches the right beneficiaries. Development in rural areas has continued to lag behind, owing to the fact that the powers that be don't pay particular attention to the happenings in rural areas where children move more than 8 kilometers to access education. The people in these areas now await to see if the new administration will prioritize development in rural areas. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Minister of Tourism and Arts Rodney Sikumba has emphasized the need to embrace Zambia's culture, stating that it is the country's greatest tourism asset. Speaking Friday evening at Government Complex when officially opening the Chundu Cultural Fund, Mr. Sikumba has in this vein also implored those in the catering industry to fully exploit the promotion of local Zambian foods. The Tonga Chundu Cultural Fund, which aims at raising money to promote Zambian culture, was also attended by Chief MONZE and Mazabuka Member of Parliament Gary Nkombo.
The new government is fully aware of the role traditional ceremonies play in the preservation of cultural heritage. That is both tangible and intangible cultural heritage. To that effect, government has reaffirmed its commitment to continue and encourage traditional leaders to celebrate traditional ceremonies as a way of preserving our national identity. We should therefore never get tired of keeping the momentum of cultural preservation and promotion for future generations. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to just speak on the need to preserve our culture. Earlier when I got into the venue, I was having a small pep talk with the chairperson. And what I requested from her, or rather what I asked was, do we have any traditional food that is going to be served this evening? And much to my delight, I was actually told that there are serving bays which actually have traditional food. Now, ladies and gentlemen, We in the Ministry of Tourism are looking at what we call gastronomy tourism. Some people would ask me what gastronomy is, but I probably like to call it food tourism. Today, Africa, and Zambia to be specific, should not be shy to be serving our local indigenous foods in the restaurants and these top-notch hotels that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very important that when I walk into a five-star hotel, I should be given an opportunity to order busara, na mutezi, na nisima, top of the menu.
A manager with Parmalat at Mazabuka main depot has described the importation of milk products as the main challenge, killing the market for milk processors. Mutafela Mkelawai told the National Agricultural Information Services NAIS in Mazabuka that milk processors are failing to sell because of many milk products coming from outside the country. Mr. Mkelawai said because of a lot of dairy products entering the country, his company has been forced to reduce the quantity of milk bought from farmers. He disclosed that a lot of milk is not being bought from the supplier's point of view, resulting in farmers remaining with a lot of milk. Mr. Mkelawai stated that if his company bought all the milk, it would have a challenge with where to sell it. He appealed for government's intervention to check the importation of milk products into the country, as there is a lot of milk at the moment. Mr. Mkelawai further told NAIS that it is better to consume what is available in the country, as there is a lot of milk to satisfy the market. He observed that there is a need to discourage importation of milk products into the country, but cautioned that a bit of milk can be imported where there is a deficit of the product. Mr. Mkelawai pointed out that Parmalat is buying milk from 7 dairy cooperatives dotted around Mazabuka. The opposition leadership movement party is saddened that the National Youth Indaba, which was held in March this year, has not produced tangible results. Party Deputy Secretary General Chalwe Chandalala says more should be done to address the issue of unemployment among the youths, and such platforms like the National Youth Indaba should have been fully utilized to champion challenges youths continue to face. Mr. Chandalala is of the view that the energy of the youths in the country is the country's greatest asset, as they hold fountains of creativity and productivity that has the potential to foster social and economic development in the country. He has, however, advised the youths to position themselves in a more responsible and productive manner if they are to benefit from the country's resources. The National Youth Indaba was held from the 10th to the 11th of March 2022 at the Mulungushi International Conference Center in Lusaka.
Indaba, which of late we have not seen any tangible results from an Indaba which the head of state, Mr. HICHILEMA, hosted at the Mulungushi Conference Center, which will deal with revamping the economy, because we know for the fact to say we cannot talk about revamping the economy if we are not productive. We need a productive nation, and the productive nation can only come about if we put the energy of the young people to work. If we put the Zambian people to production, they need to work, they need to spearhead the development of the country. With that, we're going to see Zambia grow bigger and better. But if we keep on just having indabas or talk, no action, believe you me, it will take hundreds of years without reaching our destination, because we are much of talking but not action. But as a leadership movement, we are much of practical oriented, not theories each and every time. So we are challenging the new government and all the leaders, and especially the youths out there, to wake up to come out from the slumber and position themselves and know what they want to do for betterment of Mother Zambia. With that in line, believe you me, our mindset has to change. Our approach on how we do things has to change, and our belief on how we believe in certain things has to change, because we need to support our own local businesses, we need to support our own local entrepreneurs, we need to support every Zambian so that they can grow bigger and better.
We take our second and final break. We'll be back with international and sports news after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We take risks every day, with some big things and some little things. Other risks are out of our control. But no matter what's important in your life, Savenda Insurance has got you covered. Whether it's for your home, vehicle, investments, or the people you love, you shouldn't have to worry about securing the future. Let us handle that. Since 2014, we have helped Zambians protect their health and personal property, offering peace of mind and fostering progress and development. Taking risks is what makes us grow. Insurance is what keeps us going strong.
On Monday 30th May 2022, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts Anthony Walia, the presidential spokesperson.
That to be done. So we need to isolate legal debt from illegal debt. Insofar as the legal debt is concerned, we need to immediately place a moratorium on that. What that means is that we need to stop commercial borrowing, because this is what has put us in the problems that we're in. So once we put a stop on commercial borrowing, it doesn't mean that Zambia will no longer require budgetary support from other people. We will. And this is what the European depiction is saying, that we need now to leverage our bilateral and multilateral relationships with the IMF, the World Bank, and other countries.
As they discuss Zambia's current affairs on DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98, and Topstar channel 106.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Make a dent with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. And in international news, Senegal's President Macky Sall on Friday ordered an audit of Senegal's neonatal services after the death of 11 newborns in a hospital fire sparked fresh grief and indignation over the country's health system. The blaze in a neonatal ward in the western city of Tiovan, weeks after the tragic death of a mother-to-be, has turned a spotlight on flaws and funding problems and triggered calls for senior-level sanctions. Sall on Thursday fired his health minister, Abdoulaye Diop Sarr, replacing him with the former Director General of the Public Health Authority, Marie Kemese Ngom Ndiaye. But for many Senegalese, that is not enough. They have demanded more action, fearing Wednesday's fire will not be the last. Here's a roundup for more in international news.
The Senegalese President Macky Sall on Friday ordered an audit of Senegal's neonatal services after the death of 11 newborns in a hospital fire sparked fresh grief and indignation over the country's health system. I have already ordered a fact-finding mission by the General State Inspectorate to look at the quality of the infrastructure and in a global way, relying on expertise to try to understand what happened. Details behind the fire at Defawan's Dabak Public Hospital remain sketchy. The new neonatal ward was inaugurated just last year. For several years now, we have embarked on a policy of modernizing our hospitals. You know that the health system is marked by the obsolescence of most of the old hospitals in Senegal. That is why my government is committed to build new hospitals. Last month, a heavily pregnant woman died in agony after her pills to be given a cesarean at a public hospital in the northwestern town of Louga were denied, as public outrage rocked the country. We are also going to work with the health personnel, the medical staff in particular, to look at what is wrong with the way things are done, so that the hospital can be a haven of peace for the patients and not a place of despair or tragedy, as we have just experienced. According to some reports, 67% of the operating theatres set up in health centres are non-functional in the entire country. The African Development Bank Group concluded its 5 days of annual meetings in Accra, Ghana on Friday, with the current president, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, advocating for more independent Africa. Adesina called upon all relevant parties to advocate for mass food production for export, as this will eliminate hunger and poverty among the population.
The time has come for Africa not just to produce food. Africa must process food. Africa must package food. Africa must have quality standards in food, and Africa must export to others. So when we talk about agriculture, we're not talking about agriculture to maintain poverty. No. Agriculture to create wealth for Africa.
Adesina further reiterated on the need to boost Africa's security given the high levels of insecurity, especially in the jihadist hit nations.
Development can only happen when we have security. So the days are gone when security is looked at something for others. Security is now part of our own thinking in the bank, because we must support the countries to address security. So there must be a link between security, investment, growth, and development.
And this year's meeting was accompanied with a song.
It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
Let's now have some sports news. In sports news tonight, President Hakainde Hichilema this afternoon paid homage to the late national football team by laying a wreath at their burial site behind the Independence Stadium. This was after the Republican president graced the 22nd Inter-Company Relay at Heroes Stadium. And in an interview with the journalists shortly after laying a wreath at the gravesite, President Hichilema said the fallen Zambian football heroes must be remembered at all times as they died in the line of duty serving their country. President Hichilema said government and the country at large owes a duty to their families by continuing to encourage them and making them understand that they are not alone. In 1993, the entire Zambia national football team and a journalist perished when the ZAF plane they were aboard plunged into the Atlantic Ocean shortly after taking off from Libreville, Gabon, en route to a 1994 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Senegal in Dakar. Meanwhile, President Hichilema has wished the Zambia national team the best ahead of the 2023 AFCON qualifiers. The president said the national team must do their best for the country and also to carry on the vision of the country's fallen heroes. He has further encouraged all sportsmen and women representing Zambia in various sports disciplines locally and abroad to do their best, as both government and the country is supporting them. In other sports news, the Chelsea sale is expected to be completed on Monday after a final and definitive agreement was reached with a consortium led by Todd Boehly. The Premier League and UK government have approved the £4.25 billion takeover. Chelsea were put up for sale in March before owner Roman Abramovich was sanctioned over his links to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The club have been operating under a special government license which expires on the 31st of May. Abramovich, who bought Chelsea in 2003, said he was pleased the search has now come to a successful conclusion. To end Camnet television news, the headlines once again. Over 18,000 villagers in MBALA district to be displaced. Poor rainfall pattern experienced in MONZE sends many into hunger. residents of CHELSTONE, KAMANGA area in a 3-week water crisis. In international news, Senegalese president orders audit after hospital fire kills 11 newborns. And in sports news, President HICHILEMA says pays homage to the late national soccer team. We now look at Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 5. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, and thinks no evil. Thank you for watching Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Have a good night.